Welcome to Wraparound the World, where we explore the incredible journey of Wraparound from its origins to its global impact. Join us as we delve into personal and community stories, meeting powerful individuals, families, and communities who have been transformed by this powerful approach.
In this show, we welcome Michelle Moreno, a seasoned professional in the field of child welfare, currently supporting the state of Illinois in their Wraparound expansion effort. Join us as we delve into the intricacies of child welfare and explore the impact of Michelle Moreno.
All right, well, let's begin. Where do we start? Let's start with, let's just talk a little bit, and let's talk about who you are. Why, what led you to Wraparound? And maybe we can do a little check-in on from today, Tracy. We're on in the afternoon, day 2 of the workshop or the conference.
The conference, yeah.
It's been a lot of fun. How's your experience been, Tracy?
Right, great. There's a lot of moving parts, and I love seeing the kind of come to fruition, all the things that we've been doing, and I've been with it from the center from inception, just the evolution of how things have come, right? And I understand John talked about that in his talk, right? The evolution of rap and the different things, and I'm grateful to be a part of that because I know and I see. But I just love being with like minds, right? Being with our people and to be able to feed them, but also be fed, right? I'm teaching workshops and doing that, but I'm learning so much from the people that we are with, that we work with every day, that we that we call our friends, right? Our rap fans, our rap champions. And it's really, it's an honor, right? And a privilege to be with them.
For me, it's kind of the same. This week has been incredible to be around people that all understand what's happening in my brain.
Right.
And I think I've come to terms this week that I'm one of the old ones.
Somehow we became old timers.
New one that, yeah. Anyway, so after 24 years of doing wraparound and different places, so now I'm in Illinois, and this time with even just in it, Illinois is a big state. Even just for us this time together, we don't get to work together.
Right.
We work together virtually most of the time.
Right. Let alone you got to go down and walk on the beach together.
Exactly. So, just that time to be in each other's presence and get to know one another and do our own wraparound.
Yeah.
Right? Do our own community building work is important. So that's been a nice side effect of all being here together and learning together. And as you said, getting recharged and getting fed.
Say breaking bread.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why don't you tell them who you are and maybe some of that background story.
Sure. So I kind of came to Wraparound by accident. I was working in Indiana in 2000, and there was a System of Care SAMHSA grant, replication of the Choices Project. And so I was a local wraparound coordinator, facilitator. I forgot what they called me. I ended up supervising coordinators. And the short story of the long story is that it was successful. And so I had the opportunity to be a system of care coach throughout Indiana. So had the it was a great learning experience to work with multiple counties building systems of care and wraparound in that time. And John Vandenberg came and taught us the basics. I picked him up at the airport.
Yeah.
It was that kind of thing, right? So that was an amazing opportunity. As you said, Jane, we didn't even know what we were experiencing. Right. And it was, or what it was going to mean down the road. But really, as I've often said, that changed my life path, right? That experience. And so, so from there, helping other communities in Indiana, and then moving to Florida. I happened to be in the same space as a System of Care grant in Sarasota, Florida. And so I got the opportunity to work on that grant. That was really wonderful. We've talked a lot this week about peer support and peer leadership. And we were doing wraparound using peer facilitators. So we had professional peer
Yeah.
facilitators
Yeah.
at that time in Sarasota, in an early childhood system of care grant.
Oh.
So we're working with the little ones. So shout out to my friends at the Florida Center for Early Childhood.
Yeah.
All
They're
right.
still doing great work. So then I had the opportunity to move back to the Midwest, to Illinois, to be close to my family, which is, as we all know,
Yeah.
one of our kind of core values, one of my core values. So I did, moved back to Illinois, and I moved back right at the time where the state said, we need to do something different. And the people in charge came to me as the girl who just moved back to Illinois and said, what did you learn in those other states you lived in, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, there was this thing called Wraparound
Yeah.
that I love and I've done, and this is what it looks like. Oh, I think we want to do that. So about 8 years ago now, the state said, let's fund that. Let's do some of that. So had the opportunity to be a part of the development of what is now community-based high fidelity wraparound in Illinois. And it's grown from our original 5, 6, less than 10 counties to now we're in 57 counties in Illinois. And the plan is to be statewide in the near future. It's moving into family first, as it's now a promising practice in the evidence-based clearinghouse. So now I'm in an amazing, awesome role to be able to support the administration and the structure and everything you need to be able to do good work with families.
That's cool.
I love it all.
Yeah.
You talked about how Wraparound changed you.
Yeah.
How there was no going back.
Mm-hmm.
Was that personal? Was that professional? Was that a combo? Do you want to tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, all the above. I think it was almost like a spiritual experience for me personally, because it's that connection. Y'all are gonna make me cry.
We're allowed to have it. We cry on the podcast. We do it all. We laugh. We do it all.
But yeah, I think that the purpose of our being on this planet is to connect with one another. Oh, I'm okay, Jay.
All right.
Our purpose is to connect with one another. And Wraparound was a professional opportunity that I could actually get paid, right? To be able to help people connect.
Right.
Because I think that people are hurt and hurting, and we see it even more in our world today. Social media and all the electronics are wonderful. There's some good things that come out of our electronics, right? But there's also some things that really, we saw some data in our conference this week that really supported that. We saw how when smartphones came out, that the suicide rate of our young people went rocketing.
Right.
And I think there's something to that. And so Wraparound gives me the opportunity to make a small difference, to help people connect, to connect with people like you all across the country and internationally, quite honestly. Yeah. So, yeah, it's my passion.
Changed everything.
It did. It really did.
Some things you can't unsee once you've seen them.
Exactly. Yeah.
John Franz talks about how we're just as much in evolution as the people that we serve.
Yeah.
Right, and how you're changed in the relationship, and what he discovered is it didn't matter necessarily the product. It was all in the relational capital you develop with the person, right? Like, so I think that you hit some really important points about relationships and that engagement.
Well, I think too, I appreciate that, the almost the spiritual connection that you're talking about, because it's kind of who you are, like your own values. It's how you live, and I think that just shows up anyway, right? It's who, so when I come to work, when I do this work, it's not like I'm turning it off when I go somewhere else, If I'm in an airport, if I'm at the grocery store, if I'm on vacation,
right?
It's always who I am, and that authenticity is exactly what helps to continue to show up and show others. We mentors for others as we do the work,
Mm-hmm.
and helping with that, the authenticity of what wraparound is.
Yeah.
And I love it. And I probably always say in all of my trainings, you can tell the wraparound people. You can just tell them. You can put them out. 'Cause
Right.
that's who they are, and they just shine so brightly.
Yeah.
No matter what's happening, they're just shining really brightly.
And I feel like, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I feel like we shine brighter
Yeah.
when we have the opportunity, or I'll speak for myself. I know I shine brighter when I have the opportunity to make those connections.
Yeah, sure.
My role now is so administrative. It's so
Yeah.
numbers driven and policy driven and contracts and all those things.
Yeah.
And quick story, we're getting off the airplane and an older woman kind of tripped up the ramp. And I asked, I said, would you like my arm? And she said yes. And we chatted the whole way. And my heart was just overwhelmed with like, this is what life is about.
Right.
And, we're chatting and she's like, oh, honey, I'm 89 years old and nobody talks to anybody anymore. And I was like, I walked her all the way to the baggage claim. But here's the funny part. The folks who work with me in Illinois see me as that administrator, right?
Right.
They actually snapped my picture from behind walking with Phyllis because they said, well, whenever we are complaining about Michelle Moreno and all her rules and her contracts, we're going to take this picture out and remind us she's not so bad after all.
I love that.
We're going to humanize her.
Yeah.
So, right? So, like, getting, like, being, and you don't get those experiences if you're not in the same space.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
I've heard a few things that line up with what you're saying. One is, like, the opposite of, like, addiction is connection. Right. The opposite, like the healing and trauma can only be done in relationship, right? And what you're saying is so profound. Will you talk to us a little bit about the expansion and maybe some of the growing pains, some of the lessons learned? There's a lot of counties that are moving to scale their wraparound implementation to either statewide or what was that like? What were some of the things that you guys like learned along the way, or what are some of the successes?
Yeah, lots of lessons learned. Hopefully we can help others not repeat some of those and learn from other people, right? But I think we started as a very grassroots kind of project. Each location developed their own wraparound and system, however they thought it was all funded by the same funding stream, but each location kind of did their own version of wraparound.
Right. I see.
And only in the last 4 years did we say, we need to standardize. We need to know that when we say you're doing high fidelity wraparound in Illinois, it's the same, right? That or similar, right? You always want to individualize it for the community,
sure,
because some are more rural and some all the things, right? So we've worked. So lesson learned. I wish from the beginning we had more of a standard plan, program, manual, guide, training. That thank you to you all. We now have NIGFI's standard training. Like every new person is going to be trained by the same people and the same model and the same information. That makes a big difference. And so, having the structure, the training, and the support. And I think that's the next kind of phase we're at is how do we do support them. We've got different things in place. Things like a statewide meeting or a virtual statewide meeting monthly, so that we're all talking to one another. Peer learning. There's a great opportunity there for them to share ideas and to ask questions of their peers, and that accountability to the model and the values. So we have a statewide meeting, and our agencies, each one of our agencies gets a coaching session every month. And so between the statewide kind of administrative level, right? And then at the agency level, it's more for that values and fidelity to the model and CQI work, continuous quality improvement. And then the third leg to our stool is setting up a learning collaborative for our wraparound coordinators and our family support specialists, to be able to feed one another and learn and build their own community.
Celebrate.
And so we're excited to do those things in this fiscal year. So that's kind of our evolution. And then to be able to move from the 57 counties we're at now to statewide expansion is all kind of couched in the Family First plan and what all of that means. And for those who are interested, it's actually rather complicated. And we've talked to some other states who are working on it as well, because things like policies and procedures all have to be updated so that it can be approved and written into your federal Family First plan. And so there's a lot of administrative behind the scenes work that has to be done to prepare. And I think we were naive in that process and thinking we could just do this. We're just going to add it to the plan. Oh, well, there's some things you need to think about and do to be really mindful and prepare and do the planning. And so it'll take some time, but patience.
I was just talking to somebody about the same thing, and we talked about phased in, right? Like first we had to get everybody in common language. Yeah. Now the next piece is, now the next piece is. And so they kind of were looking at it like it was like a deficiency. And so as I rather saying, like, just think about it as like it's system of care change, right? It's a hybrid incubator for change. And I think that's really important to stay in and know that, it's a continuous evolution, right? Thinking about it, we were in a workshop, we were talking to somebody the other day, and they were like, we feel like Wraparound's just exploded. And then I was in John's thing, and he was talking about when Wraparound exploded. Yeah. So it makes me just think about like the continued evolution and innovation of this practice. Well, thanks for sharing all that with us. What else? Is there anything else you just wanted to share on the podcast, or any of those things that we wanted to make sure we said before we get out of here?
I just want to say thank you to both of you for your support, your training, your guidance, your leadership, your passion. It's nice to be in your presence and to be with you and to learn from both of you as well. You always give me something new to learn and think about. And I appreciate what you just said, Jay, because it although 24 years later, here I am. I still like everything that was said this week. I was like, oh, wait, that's a good idea. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I don't think Wraparound is anything like, I think it's one of those fields that we're always going to be learning about people, about ourselves. I could go on for days, but those are my favorite things.
Yeah. Well, I come the first couple times. Well, even the first time I met you, I was excited because, at the risk of saying, like, there's not a lot of people that really get passionate and excited about the data, the fidelity, the outcomes, the implementation frameworks. Yeah. And that stuff really matters. And,
it does.
It's nice to know we're not alone in our little group of, Wraparound champions. Yeah. I'll also say that, like, we really appreciate having you on here. It's like a lot of people leave, like they come in 2 or 3 years. This work is hard. And a lot of people go on and want their private practice or whatever they want to do. And so I just want to say thanks for hanging in there. Thanks for what you've built in the community, and I'm sure we'll hear some more from you soon. And Tracy,
we don't do it alone. We do it together.
I was going to say I'm amazed by the team that you guys have assembled.
They're incredible.
Of great, folks, and the partners that you all have throughout the state that we've gotten to know. We're getting to know, and it's amazing to see. And as we travel the country and talk about it, we're always referencing the great work that you guys are doing, and that you're collecting, and the partners that you're making, and that collaborative. So, congratulations on this great work that you guys have begun to do and are continuing to do for those folks that it means the most for. So, congratulations to you. Shout out to what you guys are doing up there, and thank you for allowing us to be partners with you in this process. And so, thank you. We're honored to be, a part of it,
thank
small
you.
part. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's it. We're coming up with kind of like a closeout tagline. We haven't decided on one yet. But do you have anything you want to kind of close us out with?
Well, my favorite quote that kind of gets me through most days is from Dr. Seuss.
Okay.
And the Lorax.
I think you told me this.
Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not.